Hey guys, what's up and welcome to another video. Today, we have episode 2 of Rebuilding with Skilling, and not to spoil anything, but this week we've surpassed 100 mil. We're already 1/5 of the way there. If you haven't seen episode 1, be sure to check that out first. Anyway, let's go ahead and get straight into it. While editing episode 1, I decided to smelt some more gold bars so we would have some more gold for jewelry, which really isn't worth the time investment as you're able to make money faster elsewhere and just buy them, but I'm cheap. I'm not sure exactly how long I was smelting for, as I tend to lose track of time while editing, but we ended up having nearly 5,000 gold bars. After that, I'd went fishing for an hour or so to earn a solid 1.5 mil and followed that up with a daily run, which seemed to make between 4 to 6 mil per day depending on what all I do. I don't always do every single daily, I just hit the main ones that I remember. But here's the grand exchange history of everything sold. On to the next method. Here we bought 5,000 blue blubbers to test out if this is truly up to 6 mil per hour like my rune metrics had been telling me before. 5,000 took just about 4 hours to burn through and we actually made a profit of 9 mil. So I guess in short burst, the rune metrics isn't as accurate as I would like, but we still made some good money, so I can't complain. After cooking for a while, I remembered making weapon poisons requires cave nightshade, which is an untradeable item collected within the caves by Yenil. We spent 40 minutes in total collecting as well as mixing, ending up with a profit of 3 mil. I definitely was not having a good time doing this though, and it didn't sell super quickly, so I decided to move on to something else. And since our invention machine is currently empty, I went ahead and bought another 1,000 dragonstones and started making bracelets to throw in there. After making the bracelets, I decided to start making some rings of Slayer to disassemble in order to get precious components as well as enhancing components. Now needing some dexterous components, I turned to magic short bows. Not wanting to spend very much, I bought logs to cut myself as well as some bowstrings. But after stringing only 200 bows, I realized they didn't need to be strung. So I opted to save a bit of cash and I sold the bowstrings back and started disassembling all of the bows and some of the rings. I ended up throwing the rest of the rings into my disassembler to save a bit of time. And that brings us to another day, and another daily run, which I'm probably not going to mention every daily run from here on out. Just know that it's happening in the background, and you'll see in the Grand Exchange history every now and then. But to start off a brand new day, I decided to test out making regular onyx bolts E. I figured a batch of 4,000 would give me a good idea of how much this can make per hour. And for the enchanting, you'll see in the GE history I bought an elemental battle staff, which I'll probably hold on to for now for any enchanting I do in the future. But we made 800,000 in 25 minutes, which really was not worth it to me. After making the bolts, I stopped by the Invention Guild to claim my cash, and now that we have a pretty good cash stack, I wanted to try smelting Elder Rune bars using Superheat form, and this increases the speed at which you smelt bars, making it possible to smelt over 3,000 bars in 1 hour. Well, after my first hour and some number crunching, we were able to pull a profit of 6.6 mil, and this is extremely AFK. So naturally, I bought some more and I kept on smelting. Altogether, we spent 4 to 5 hours smelting Elder Rune bars, and we made a massive profit of nearly 27 mil. You'll also see a sold offer for over 50,000 teramins in this clip, which you can ignore that as it's just residual items I'm trying to get rid of prior to the series. The money was added to my spirit shard stack and will not be included on the series. Next, I went back to the Invention Guild and claimed all of my components and set off to create all the equipment siphons that I could. And to my surprise, we were able to create 62, and this was worth 14 mil. I'm not sure how much of this was pure profit, but I know I spent nowhere near 14 mil to make them. But now out of components, I bought 1,000 steel bars and some home teleport tabs, and I went and started making some clockwork. There's really not a lot to say about this method. Grab bars, tele home, find your bench, and AFK. Rinse and repeat. A steel bar cost about 1,000 and the clockwork sells for about 3,000. It's a very easy method to triple your input gold. And we made 2 mil in about an hour and 10 minutes. Next, I went fishing for about an hour or so to kill a little bit of time and let the clockwork sell off. And I know that I wouldn't be talking about dailies anymore, however, there is currently an event going on where a lot of the daily shops have a doubled stock and a myriad of other bonuses, which you can find on the RuneScape forums. But now let's go ahead and take a peek at the bank, and we've got a lot of supplies from daily runs to sell. But first, I need to make the flasks. I decided to use some of the astral runes for my daily runs, and I used the glass make spell to save some time. And altogether, we've got 13 mil worth of daily supplies to sell. I went ahead and sold what I had right now, but since this event is currently going on, I'm probably going to start holding on to some stuff in the meantime until it's over, as I suspect everything correlated to dailies is probably going to be going down. But here's the Great Exchange history, and don't mind the Zeros insignias. I had bought them from somebody else, and they gave me exactly what I paid. No money was lost or gained. On to my next method. I'd put an offer for Bacriminal bolts in before I went to bed, and by the time I'd gotten back, we had 6,000 Bacriminal bolts to tip. However, when I tried to buy the ruby bolt tips, I noticed they were going for 1,000 again. So I decided to buy 500 rubies instead, and I started cutting some tips. If we could actually sell them at 1,000 each, this method would truly be almost 12 mil per hour. Unfortunately, by the time I had cut all 500, the tips were back down to the 300 GP range, so I went ahead and bought them at that price, and I kept my offer for 6,000 selling. I went back to making ruby backs, and in just 30 minutes we made almost 9 mil. After finishing off the bolts, I went back to the Invention Guild to claim my coins from my alchemizer, which this brings us to the end of the episode. Going by my rune metrics, we've gained about 120 mil so far, so we're making good progress. But anyway guys, I do hope that you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe, take her easy, and have a good one.